What's up, everyone? This is Yuri, aka Gains Finder. I took an extended leave of absence, not by choice. I've dealt with some personal circumstances in the last month and a half or so that kind of forced me to take a break from social media, from my podcast, from YouTube. So not fun. It wasn't fun, let me put it that way. But I'm back and I'm so happy to resume my journey, my fitness and wellness journey with all of you, and to share my passion, share my knowledge with the world. Today's episode is somewhat special because in today's episode I wanted to reflect on what actually transpired in the last month and a half and why I was missing from internet and from this wonderful community. So I'll start from the beginning. Towards the end of June, I went to visit my parents. My parents live Midwest, about 3 hours from Chicago, about an hour and a half from Indianapolis. So I drove to see them. Family is always a wonderful time. In fact, this is kind of was reaffirmation that family is the most important thing in the world. All right, so this is first most important thing in the world. Later in the video I'll tell you what's the second most important thing in the world is. But family is certainly it. So I went to see them. I have a wonderful time with my mom, with my stepdad. I got to see my stepsister. And so just was a wonderful family time. And my parents own a property by the lake, and they have quite a bit of land, and with land comes a lot of work, a lot of upkeep, as you know. There's a lot of grass, there's a lot of weeds, a lot of things that need to be taken care of on a regular basis. So one of my goals was actually to help my parents to clean things up, make property look better, organized. And so I was doing some work, some yard work, a few days in a row, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed, I must tell you the truth. When I was younger, I never enjoyed it as much. So just the ability to be there with my stepdad, cutting some weeds, help him to clean the backyard, that felt really good. But so one of the days, I guess, while I was working outside, I think I punctured my skin with the plant that has pike on it. You know, so one of those pikes penetrated my skin. I don't think it was poison ivy. It could have been. It could have been some other plant. Long story short, my body started developing some sort of reaction to that skin puncture. And when I left my parents, it was just itchy a little bit. And when I came back home after a couple of days of driving, it was itching a lot and skin was starting to get really irritated. It was really red, and I started getting random rashes on my body, you know? So at first I couldn't understand what was going on, because I was like, I'm getting rashes on my legs, rashes on my stomach, places where no way I could have come in contact with the weeds and with this potentially harmful plant. And so in my mind, I was thinking, what if I ended up getting bed bugs somewhere, you know? So I started researching that. I was freaking out a little bit, not gonna lie. I couldn't sleep well for a few nights because I kept thinking that I've been eaten and my blood being sucked by these little creatures, right? So almost lost from my train of thought, because my mind just went back to that one night when I was trying to sleep in my bathtub. Now it's funny, but at the time it wasn't funny, because I was really concerned that you know, the bed bug's gonna get me. So mentally, I just didn't want to be in my bed. I wanted to get away from them. But a few days later, the reaction continued. In fact, it got worse. The rash got more itchy, and I started developing these kind of bloody rashes, on my arm, on my left arm, that I couldn't help but itch. Like, I know better, everyone knows better not to itch it, but it itches so bad. It itched so bad to the point where even though I knew not to do it, I couldn't help it. I just had to like touch the skin and rub the skin because of this incredible urge to itch. So that week after I came back from my parents' house, it just got worse. It continued to get worse. The rash got bigger. I started really worried because my arm started looking like it's mutating. It started to look like the rash was going to take over my entire forearm. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little scared. Maybe more than a little, because at the time I didn't have a job, I didn't have a medical insurance, and I didn't know what was going to happen, I started having these thoughts going through my head. What if it's something serious, and what if, I'm going to need extensive medical health, extensive medical care? What would that mean? Would that mean that I'm going to run out of my resources and potentially be completely broke? So it was not a fun situation. So at the time I didn't really see a way out. So surprisingly, I don't know how God works in mysterious ways, but I have a doctor friend, and that we're really on good terms. We're friends. We spoke occasionally, but the thing is, during that particular time, she reached out and she was asking how I was doing, which is kind of crazy. And I told her, look, I didn't want to share it first, but then I told her, look, this is what's going on. She asked me for pictures. I sent her some pictures. And at first, I just got some cream over the counter. But afterwards, after a couple of days, when it didn't get better, she actually she called in for a prescription in one of the pharmacy stores, and I got, at first, I got 2 medications. One of them was antibiotic that came later, but the one was also, I forgot what it's called exactly. It wasn't as strong as antibiotic, but it meant to cure the itchiness. It was supposed to help with that urge to itch. So later on, after taking these medications, it didn't get better right away. I started developing more rash and more itchy rash, and they continued, and I ended up going and getting a biopsy. He ended up getting a biopsy done in her office. And so after that, she continued to treat me, and she continued to, provide support and be there for me. So a huge shout out to this doctor. She knows who she is. I'm not going to necessarily say the name just to keep the, keep that private, but without her, I would have been in a terrible, terrible shape, even mentally speaking, not just physically. And so slowly but surely, things start getting better. And then, just when my skin started to heal, I ended up with a swelling in my left eye. I would wake up in the morning looking like somebody, punched me in the eye a couple of times. It was swollen on the inside, and that continued for, good 4 or 5 days. And that was also disheartening because I thought, okay, I'm out of the woods now. My skin is good, my skin is healing. And all of a sudden, I got that thing on my eye. So I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Is it an allergic reaction? Is it something else that's happening with my eye? So that was another unpleasant surprise that happened right when I started to believe that I was out of the woods with my health. And one thing I wanted to say is that I was really considering documenting my journey, because essentially that's what I want to do. I want to document my journey with all the ups and downs. But this was just something I was not ready for to showcase at the time. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is because I did not want to worry my family. And that's real. Anytime my mother or my stepdad learns about something negative, by default they're going to be nervous. By default they're going to stress out. And I did not want that to happen. I know that if I was putting that information out in the world and they would happen to come across this information with pictures of my rash, that would increase the level of their anxiety and their stress, and therefore I did not want it. I also was wondering to myself if I could be vulnerable enough to put it all out, to allow people to see me in this type of dire condition, so to speak. And I think the answer is yes. I think that I would be okay with that particular aspect of it, but I would not be okay to put my parents through additional pain from the distance, knowing that they were going to feel stressed and there's nothing they could have done about the situation. So that is really the reason why I did not put out all that information in the world at the time. That brings me to the second point that I promised to cover in this particular episode, and that point is health is the second most important thing in the world. Family is the first, health is the second. There's no particular order. I just think that both of these components are the most important things in the entire world. I remember my feeling when I dealt with this skin issue, and I think there was a roller coaster of emotions for the reasons I've already mentioned, for the fact that I did not know what was my condition. I still don't know entirely. The biopsy came back with things that, not very straightforward, because it has a lot of words. It's a combination of like 6 or 7 very long words, not giving a specific diagnosis per se. So I think that there's different variations of things that could be happening, but the point being, health is something that I know I took for granted. I never thought about how fortunate I am just to wake up every day, not having health conditions, not thinking about whether or not my body is going to get worse today, not worrying about how serious of a condition I'm having. And so I am so blessed. And if you take away one thing from this video, is that if you're healthy, you are blessed. Period. The end of story. If you wake up without pain, without any health issues, without anxiety pertaining to your health and wellness, you are blessed. If your family is okay, you are blessed. This gives me a completely different perspective about things. Perspective that I thought I knew, but that got reinforced to the point where I've realized that, hey, you're a happy man. You're still breathing. You don't have underlying health issues that you're dealing with every day. Your skin is healing. Your mind is still sharp. You're still able, not just able to do things, but you're actually able. I can move. I can do things. So this is the blessing, y'all. This is the blessing. Just being able and being healthy and have a family that supports you and loves you. This is the happiness. This is the happiness. Because if you don't have these things, everything else might not be important, in my opinion. And I believe truly that happiness starts inside. True happiness starts inside you, every individual. But I also think that your health and your family going to directly impact this perception of the world and the way you navigate the world and the level of your satisfaction. Well, this is my update. This is my story. That's what happened in the last month or so. In addition to that, I now moved from Gainesville, Florida, where I used to live, to Orlando. You see me looking good right now. If you're listening, then I can just tell you I have a suit on with a tie. I'm going through different interviews, trying to get a job of my dreams over here in Orlando. Maybe not of my dreams. Maybe any job, let's be honest here. But things are well. Things are well now. And I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy to be healthy and to come back into normal swing of things and wake up in the morning not thinking about what else can go wrong. So my heart goes out to everyone, literally everyone, who is dealing with any kind of health problems. My thoughts and prayers are with you, and I hope you stand strong, and I hope that you can heal internally and externally. And for everyone out there who's healthy, count your blessings, yo. We're so blessed. We're so happy. I think it's really difficult to know how really blessed we are until something gets taken away from us, or something gets affected and something gets compromised, for the lack of a better word. Only at that point we really start think how wonderful would it be just simply feel healthy. This is all for me. I hope that all of you feeling strong, feeling optimistic, feeling positive, and I hope that your families are doing extremely well. And no matter what you do, never stop learning, never stop growing, my friends. Till the next time, peace.